You can keep your health care. I'm looking at folks who've got employer-based health care. I'm looking at folks who've got Medicare and Medicaid, and that accounts for the vast majority of Americans.
Well, there you see the president explaining there further his comment that if you like your health care plan, you can speak. Now, he's only speaking to the employer market. He meant the Medicare market, the Medicaid market, not so much the individual insurance market and so on. But the question remains now about whether seeing those millions of people kicked off of their plans, as we saw in the individual insurance market now, and sending them over to the government exchanges instead was actually their plan right from the beginning, contrary to the president's explicit promises. Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel admitted as much to me last. Joining me now to discuss it, Avik Roy, author of How Medicaid Fails the Poor, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and a columnist at the National Review. I mean, he admitted it. He admitted right there that the 7 million people they need on the exchanges, all along they intended for a number of those people to come over from the individual insurance market.
And he's not the only one. The entire health policy community from the beginning and even today, they're always saying the old individual market was terrible. There were these junk plans. Insurers could do all these terrible things. And now we, the federal government, have come in to save you from these plans that were doing terrible things to you.
Right. And they may or may not have been junky. People say they weren't junky. But the bottom line is the people in the individual insurance market tend to be young and they tend to be healthy, and they need them to be booted off of their plans and moved over to the insurance exchanges because that's where they pay the higher premiums and help subsidize this law.
It's totally a form of redistribution masked in the regulations, right? So normally you think of taxes and subsidies being the way that we would pay for health coverage for people who need it. That's not what the exchanges do. They, through regulation, force young people and healthy people to pay more for health insurance. That's how it was designed from the very beginning.
Right. It's not giving them nothing. You boot them over to the exchanges and you give them more. But they didn't want any more, so you boot them over there, you give them more, but you make them pay a lot more, too. And so young people seeing their premiums double or whatever on the exchanges comes as no surprise to the administration. It was part of the plan all along, and that leads me to the question, Avik, what, now that they are saying you may stay over in the individual insurance market, young, healthy people, if they actually can do it, you know, if state insurance commissioners allow the fix, if the insurance companies themselves allow the fix, what does that mean for Obamacare?
You know, the progressive health policy types are clenching their teeth through all this. I was testifying before Congress today, and a witness who was there with me, who was a Democratic witness, she said at that hearing that if the Upton bill, the House bill to let you keep your plan, if that bill passed, it would destroy the exchanges because all the healthy people who had less expensive plans outside the exchanges, they'd stay out, and only sick people would stay in, and there would be this two-tiered system. She said this would destroy the system. Then the president came on and announced for something very similar to what Upton was proposing.
And that's so my question to you is this all a big fraud? I mean, is this a fraud? Because we had the president over 40 times saying if you like your plan, you can keep it, you can keep it. And today he came out and said it turned out to be incorrect, but I meant it when I said it because I was really talking about Medicare and Medicaid and employer-based coverage. And the truth appears to be all along they intended on devastating the individual insurance market because they needed the young, healthy people to move over to those state exchanges and to pay more and to supplement the funding for this law.
100%. He's trying to present it like, well, I was just busy dealing with foreign policy or whatever, and somehow this all got messed up, and I'm sorry about that. That's not what happened. It was designed to destroy the old individual market. Zeke Emanuel said that. Other people said that's the way the law was written. He's saying, well, I have to protect these congressmen who voted for this law and didn't know. They wrote the bill. The Senate Finance Committee wrote the bill. The House passed the bill. The president just signed it. He didn't write the bill. So this idea that people in Congress were not responsible for the product, the legislative product that resulted in this problem, they wrote it.
And that they didn't know that this was going to happen. And now they're acting shocked that this is happening. We have to institute this fix where it was all part of the plan. Avik Roy, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.